In project management, having a solid plan, well, that's really just half the battle. The real test, especially in a field as complex as construction, is when it's time to actually execute. So today, that's what we're going to focus on, that crucial performance phase. Think of this as our blueprint for turning those plans into a reality.
So you've put in the work, right? Weeks, maybe even months, poring over that blueprint. The budget's locked in, the team is all aligned. But that one big question is still hanging in the air. You have the plan, so now what? How do you actually turn that stack of papers into a finished building on time and on budget? Let's break that down. We're going to walk through 5 key areas. First, we'll nail down what execution really means. Then, we'll cover the 6 absolute keys to success. After that, we'll look at the tools you need in your belt, how to handle those inevitable challenges, and finally, how to make sure you finish the project strong. Let's start with executing the plan.
Okay, first up, executing the project plan. This is all about one thing, turning those detailed blueprints into actual physical buildings. It's the point where all the planning stops and the real doing begins.
Now, the official term for this is the project performance stage. But what does that really mean? Put simply, it's the phase where all the work you've planned finally gets done. You're not just overseeing anymore. You're in the thick of it, actively coordinating every single moving part to hit your project goals. To make this real, just picture a huge office tower going up downtown. The performance stage is everything you actually see happening. It's the crew pouring thousands of tons of concrete for the foundation. It's the cranes delicately lifting massive steel beams into the sky. It's that whole complicated dance of managing electricians, plumbers, and drywallers, all trying to work together to reach one common goal. This is where the project truly comes to life.
So, how do you manage that complicated dance effectively? How do you keep it all from descending into chaos? Well, it really comes down to 6 key actions. These are the absolute backbone of a successful execution.
And what's interesting here is that these aren't just theories, they're practical daily actions. Okay, number 1, you have to direct and manage the work. This is your day-to-day on the ground, making sure the plumbing crew isn't holding up the drywall team and, completely rejiggering the schedule when you get a week of solid rain. Second, you have to manage project knowledge. And this isn't some report you file away at the end. It's about actively using lessons from past projects right now. If a certain material took forever to get last time, you're ordering it way earlier this time. And third, and this is a big one, you must ensure quality. This is absolutely non-negotiable. It means walking the site, doing regular inspections, checking that the concrete is cured to the right strength, and making sure every inch of wiring matches the approved plans. The next 3 are just as critical. Number 4 is managing resources. This is logistics at its finest. You need the right people, the right materials, and the right equipment to show up at the exact right moment. Think about timing the delivery of those massive steel beams to coincide perfectly with when the crane is available. 5th is to constantly monitor and control the project. This means you're keeping a constant eye on your schedule, your budget, and your scope. If the framing crew gets delayed by a week, you need to know immediately how that's going to ripple through the rest of the project. And finally, number 6, communicate. This is the glue that holds the entire project together. It's those weekly meetings that make sure everyone, from the client to the suppliers, is on the same page and that you're tackling concerns before they blow up into huge problems. Now, to pull off those 6 actions well, you can't just rely on a clipboard and a hard hat anymore. You need the right set of tools. So let's open up the toolbox and see what every project manager needs. Luck. Every job requires the right tools. And in project management, your tools can be the difference between a project that runs smoothly and one that's just pure chaos. Having the right software and techniques is absolutely essential. So what are the essentials? Well, in construction, specialized project management software like Procore or Buildertrend is your command center. It's where everything lives. Then you've got Gantt charts, which are basically your visual roadmaps. They show you who does what and when. A risk matrix is your what-if plan. It helps you prepare for things like a week of bad weather or a key supplier suddenly going out of business. Earned Value Management, or EVM, is like your project's financial health check. It answers that crucial question: are we getting the value we're actually paying for? And of course, good old-fashioned regular status meetings. These are your tool for real-time problem solving and keeping everyone aligned. Now, even with the best plan and the best tools, you're always going to hit some unexpected bedrock. It's just the nature of the beast. So let's talk about navigating those common hurdles. First up, the classic, the big one, scope creep. This is when the client, halfway through the build, casually mentions that they'd like to add, say, 2 extra floors to the office tower. To them, it might sound like a simple request, but we know it can completely derail the entire project. The fix for this is a rock-solid, non-negotiable, formal change control process. What that means is any requested change, no matter how small it seems, has to be formally documented, approved, and rigorously assessed for its impact on the schedule and the budget before a single bit of new work begins.
Another hurdle you'll see all the time is resource shortages. You know, the specific type of curtain wall glass you need is suddenly on back order for 6 months, or you just can't find enough skilled welders for the job. The solution here is all about planning ahead. It's contingency planning. You have to anticipate this stuff. That means identifying backup suppliers from day one, pre-qualifying secondary contractors, and maybe even getting alternative materials approved in the initial design phase, just in case. On any busy construction site, you are guaranteed to have team conflicts. The classic example, the electricians and the plumbers both showing up needing to work in the exact same ceiling space at the exact same time. It happens. The fix here is being proactive with your mediation. It starts with creating a collaborative environment from the get-go. It means having an incredibly detailed schedule that deconflicts these tasks ahead of time. And when issues do pop up, it means you step in quickly to mediate and find a workable solution. And then you have the truly unforeseen risks, the real curveballs. For example, during demolition, your crew discovers the old building is filled with hazardous materials like asbestos that nobody knew about. This is where flexibility and adaptability become your most important skills. When the truly unexpected hits, the key is not to panic. You have to pause the work, create a new plan to deal with the problem, bring in specialists, and then communicate clearly and immediately with every single stakeholder about the new timeline and the new costs. Finally, after you've navigated all the challenges, after all the hard work, it's time to finish strong. And believe me, how you close out a project is just as important as how you start it. There are 3 key steps to this. First is the official project closeout. This is the formal checklist, making sure every last task is complete, all the final inspections have been passed, every single contractor has been paid, and you get that final official sign-off from the client. Second, you've got to capture the lessons learned. Get the whole team in a room. What went right? What went horribly wrong? This knowledge is invaluable for the next job. And finally, and this is so important, celebrate success. Acknowledge the team's incredible effort. A simple team lunch or even just a sincere thank you goes a long way in boosting morale. It's what turns a one-time team into a crew that wants to work with you again and again. And that really brings us to the end. Performing a project is dynamic, it's challenging, and ultimately it's incredibly rewarding. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. What's the one lesson your last project taught you about execution? Thanks for joining this explainer. Good luck out there.